Phillies home openers today after the opening series this past weekend in Washington. Did we learn anything about our Phillies game after 3 games? And why can't we just enjoy the ride? We're going to get into that. Sixers officially eliminated from the playoffs. Is this the worst? Hold on. Let's mute that. Is this the worst Sixers season we've ever seen in our lifetime? And Eagles news, whatever else is coming, owners meetings going on. Everybody, trending in the AM. We're live, taking your thoughts and opinions on all things happening this past weekend in Philadelphia sports. We're live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We're live on YouTube, Twitter, you know the drill. Wherever you are watching, smash those buttons. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, follow, whatever you got to do, hit those buttons. Thumbs up, subscribe, share. If you're watching over on Twitter, lots of people watch on Twitter, and that's great. I appreciate that. Please find the YouTube page. It's in the bio. In the description of my bio there. Hit subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. The race to 500. I thought we'd be much closer than this at this point. Started the day yesterday at 479. We actually dropped a subscriber yesterday down to 478. So please like and subscribe. Get on over to that YouTube page and take care of it for me. I appreciate it. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me on all platforms at Bearded Knowledge as well. Guys, we got a jam-packed show. We got a jam-packed week. We will, as the week goes on, get back into some football talk as the owners' meetings are underway this week. And, we're going to get some information on some rule change votes and stuff like that. Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, they'll all be speaking this week. Maybe sometimes some big news comes out of the owners' meetings. Sometimes they don't. We'll find out. We're definitely going to find out about the tush push this week. Sixers officially eliminated from the playoffs this weekend. Was this the worst Sixers season in my lifetime? Maybe. And we had some bad seasons back in the day. Was this the most disappointing Sixers season of all time? They are officially now the number 5 seed, is the worst, 5th worst record in the NBA, with a chance to get to number 4. They're a full game ahead of the Nets for that 6th spot, which is the bare minimum that we need to keep our draft pick. But was this the most disappointing Sixers season of all time? And then, of course, Phillies, first series in the books against the Washington Nationals. They win 2 out of 3. Aaron Nola doesn't have his best stuff in the first game of the season. We're going to get into that. And did we learn anything about this Philadelphia Phillies team over the weekend? We'll see. It's a long season. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So whatever. We already have the injury bug creeping up on the Philadelphia Phillies early in the season. So we're going to get into that as well. Obviously, I'm going to fire through the first few comments, most of which are just nonsense. But yes, Stevie Fuentes, Minwoo Lee, 4th outright of the year for this guy right here. All 3 Fairway to Heaven hosts picked Minwoo Lee to win the Houston Open this past week. We all cash in tickets. It's a community win. So if you're not watching Fairway to Heaven Tuesday nights at 6 p.m., you're leaving money on the table. We're picking winners all the time, building winning DFS lineups all the time. Gotta love it. Got to love it. Phillies home opener today, Steven says. Let's go. Who's throwing out the first pitch? I have it being Brandon Graham. I don't know. Hold on. Which tricep got torn in the Super Bowl? I don't really get as hyped up as others on who's throwing out the first pitch or who's ringing the bell or any of that stuff. Whatever with that to me personally. But it is the home opener, 3 o'clock today. The home opener there's a lot of pomp and circumstances. There's a lot of fun and entertainment at a game like this. Be great to have them home. The weather should hold out. Later this week, it'll be a little cooler. But today should be a nice warm 70 degrees. Rain isn't scheduled to come in until probably after the game. But the Phillies only went 2-1. And there's a bunch of dumb comments about fairway from TMZ. We'll just skip those. That's please, yes, thank that. What's up, Little G? Good morning. Nashville owned Phillies yesterday. Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that. Why was it a good weekend? For two reasons. Why? I'm not sure. Picking winners and chicken dinners. NBA season is not over. There's 7 games left of the NBA season for the Sixers. So there's that. All right, Philadelphia Phillies. They lost yesterday 5-1 to the Washington Nationals. Yes, they took the first 2 games of the series. Obviously, the Washington Nationals are not a good football or baseball team. The Washington Nationals are supposed to be one of the bad teams that the Philadelphia Phillies should beat on the regular. And they took 2 out of 3 this weekend. Yesterday, obviously missing Trea Turner and JT Realmuto from the lineup, as both of them got banged up this weekend. Trea Turner was a late scratch on Saturday, then sat yesterday as well with back stiffness, back spasms, whatever they are. Trea Turner at his age, having back issues this early in the season, is extremely concerning. JT Realmuto on Saturday's game took a ball off his foot, sat yesterday, which I'm okay with JT Realmuto sitting yesterday, and both Rob Thompson said could be in the lineup today for the home opener. But one of the things we discussed the last couple of weeks getting set for this Phillies season was the fact that they are an older team. They're not a young team like the Eagles that made this run and won a Super Bowl. They are an older baseball team, and injuries are going to be a concern all season long. These guys getting banged up all year will be a concern. What's up, Uri? How you doing? Sixers process part 2. The whole losing thing seems too familiar. Problem is, I kind of feel like this is worse. Because I don't think this year, I don't feel the trust that Morey and Harris actually truly understand what the Sixers need to do. They're going to spin it that, well, if we get healthy and we add another piece or two, that we're just going to be fine. And I'm petrified of what the Sixers offseason, Uriah, is going to bring us. It's I would be not shocked if we land the 4th or 5th pick in the draft and they trade it away for some reason, for another star or whatever. Reason number 1 is a great, who cares about the UFL? You are the only one that cares. Not with Nick. Not with Nick what? The injury concerns? Yeah, Nick Castellanos didn't get hurt and hasn't. He played 162 games last year. Look, Zach, the Phillies had some highs and some lows. And when I'm ready to talk Phillies here, I saw a tweet this morning from another morning show on the radio, which you should never listen to the radio. You should always listen to Trending in the AM because we actually care about your opinions. But I like John Kincaid, the person, a cancer survivor. And the question that they're asking on their show today, what percentage of you can enjoy the season as it comes along versus the percentage of us that has angst towards how the season may end? And it really got me thinking, why are we just not going to enjoy the ride versus looking ahead to October already and the past failures of this Phillies team? And I think it's very easy answer. The Phillies have not had real success, which is winning a championship, in 17 years. The Eagles, this upcoming Eagles season, win or lose, we're going to enjoy the ride as Super Bowl champions. The Eagles get the benefit of the doubt even after a bad season because they've won 2 in the last 8 years. They've been to 3 championship games or Super Bowls in the last 8 years. They get the benefit of the doubt. The Philadelphia Phillies don't even get close to the benefit of the doubt because they've got the roster. They've got the talent. They haven't gotten it done in 17 years. They've been a very mediocre to bad organization for 17 years. And before that, for 20 years plus. So the Phillies, we cannot just be content and enjoy the ride, because the last few years they've ended the ride in a collision, in an accident, in a disaster. And this weekend, game 1, 19 strikeouts. Game 2, yes, they hit the ball left and right. Yesterday, struck out a ton again yesterday and got dominated by the Nationals pitchers again yesterday. So 2 of the 3 games, the starters of the Nationals handled our lineup. The bullpen is where we got our runs the first and third game. Well, the first game. The third game, we only got 1 run. The hitters, well, they hit a bunch of home runs in game 2. Showed again. They're prone to chase. Nick Castellanos, who you mentioned here, prone to chase bad pitches. It happening already. Aaron Nola, always up and down throughout his career. Aaron Nola is one of the most solid pitchers in Phillies history. But he's not a great pitcher. Why? Because after every good season, he has some down moments. You can't just enjoy the ride when the story has been told. The story has already been written for what this regular season is going to be. So we can't just be content to enjoy the ride when we already know how the ride's going to end. Reason number 2, this was an amazing weekend. Zava knows what my city is. What? I don't even know what that means. What's up, Big Al, stalker? The 93 team must be an anomaly. It was 13 years since their last championship, and then 14 years until they had a success. That 93 team was an anomaly. That 93 team was special, but kind of came out of nowhere as well. Obviously, 92 was an awful season. 94 was strike hit shortened. But after that, then we went into a downward spiral again. Phillies hitters faced lefty stars in 12 innings and scored 0 runs. Yeah. And I saw a report that the Phillies are going to face a lot of lefties, especially early in the season. Anthony, and good morning. Hope you had a great weekend. The Phillies hitters are the same hitters with the same philosophies at the plate. Nothing's changed. So we're going to have hot moments and hot streaks. And we're going to have cold streaks where they're frustrating as hell. And when we already know this, to answer John Kincaid's question, why should we be content to just enjoy the ride? That's my problem. You know, the uber positive reporters and media and contract carriers out there. There's a great team. They're going to win 95 games, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure. But that's not good enough anymore. I'd rather win 88 games, squeak into the playoffs, and win the World Series than win 117 games and lose in the championship game. But the thing is, they haven't done anything to earn that benefit of the doubt that we can just enjoy the ride. And Rick, I know you just got into the chat, that they're going to win a World Series. And that's fine that you feel that way. I disagree, but whatever. That's not the point of this. The point is, should we be content and just enjoy it, and whatever happens, happens? No, because it's hard to enjoy something when you've been disappointed so many times. Who's Zava? I don't know who that is. Recruit. That's right. You got details matter, Big Al. Details matter for sure. Good morning, Rick. I hope you are well. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope everybody had a great weekend. The Phillies had a good weekend, not a great weekend. The Sixers had another dreadful weekend. Actually, a good weekend because they've inched closer to securing the lottery pick this draft. We're now on day 8 of calling out Josh Harris until he does what's right and fires Daryl Morey. And now we're throwing Nick Nurse into the equation. It's NFL owners meetings this week. We might actually get some information football-wise to talk. I can't believe this. Tomorrow's April 1st. We are already 3 full months into 2025. Can you believe it? And we're still not at 500 subscribers, FYI, just so you know. Bills paid Benford the okay cornerback. We're not really too concerned about the Buffalo Bills and the money they're spending. This is not a Buffalo Bills content channel. Just an FYI. How about a Harris sells and they dude, I would be 1,000% excited if Josh Harris sold a team. Big Al. But he's not. Not yet, at least. Don't think that's anywhere on the horizon. But it would be great. But does Josh Harris even know what needs to be done to the Philadelphia 76ers? Does he even care? As long as he's collecting paychecks, as long as he's getting an ROI on that investment, he don't care. And that's the problem with the Sixers. Is that does Josh Harris have a pulse on what's going on with his organization? Or does he just say, Daryl Morey, as long as I'm getting those checks every month, I don't care what you do. Just turned it on. Sounds like the Phillies are 0-3. No. I've given them compliments. I have. So, no, we're not bashing the Phillies. What we're doing is answering a question that's floating around social media about why we can't just be content and enjoy the ride versus already having angst towards what the ending could be. That's the conversation, Rick. And yes, they are 2-1. They should be 3-0. Okay? The Washington Nationals are a dreadful team. You start out the season 2-1. One game, your hitter struck out 19 times against the starter through 5 or 6 innings. And then the bats came alive. Game 2, hit a bunch of home runs, scored a lot of runs. Yesterday, you got just shut down. And then my big concern about the age of this team has already reared its ugly head with 2 hitters already injured. With Trey Turner with back spasms, which, yeah, maybe he plays safe, but back spasms are not something you want to deal with this early in the year, and JT Realmuto already dinged up. So we're not being negative. We're being honest and real about where this team is. Does he care? Is more Josh Harris? Yeah, does he care? I don't think he does. I don't think he does care, Josh Harris. He only cared to make enough money so he could buy the Nationals or the Commanders. I don't know who Rick Zava is. What's up, Jonathan Harvey? How you doing? All I have to say is that the Phillies don't sweep Colorado. Phillies might be overrated. The Phillies are what they are. They're a very good baseball team. Jonathan, they're going to lose some games. It's a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But the same issues that we've had the last couple of years, you already saw them in the first 3 games. I think I saw twice Nick Castellanos strike out on pitches this weekend, literally, that were in the left-hander's batter's box where the catcher caught them. Same problem we've already seen. Nick Castellanos will be a great player, but he still has the same thing. The lack of discipline, the lack of change, the lack of approach change from the hitters has not happened. And until then, it's going to be the same team that they always have been. Big Al the recruiter, yeah. You had a nice little weekend. Fairway to Heaven picking look, all 3 Fairway to Heaven hosts picked Minwoo. Well, I picked them. Maybe they got them too before me. But actually, pretty much it's what's considered a community win, Joe. Literally, like 70% of the people that we call ourselves golf touts, the people that make picks for you, almost literally everybody had Minwoo Lee as a winner this week. It was the easiest bet I've made all year. And it was a hit. Normally those community wins don't happen. When everybody's all on somebody, normally they come up short. And he tried. My man Steven Fuentes texted me yesterday. He's like, yo, is there any chance Minwoo Lee doesn't win this? I said, depends on what happens on 16. And what does Minwoo Lee do? He puts his tee shot on 16, splash right in the middle of the water. I almost called the collapse, which would have been very frustrating. Yankees might be using tech backs, helping them score more runs. What is going on with this with the bats and the Yankees? I haven't had a lot of free time. I've seen 2 or 3 people tweet this out. So if somebody can explain in the comments what's going on with these bats with the Yankees. I see a bunch of memes and gifs of like, you know, of these Yankees hitters and something about their bats, and I'm not sure what's going on. I did see somebody tweet that the MLB is going to have to step in and make a new rule about the bats that they're using. No one knows. Phillies looked a lot better than the Braves. Oh, they did, and the Braves were 0-4. And I'm sure there's a content creator being uber negative about them. It is a long season, obviously. Clearly, it's a long season. It's a 6-month season, Rick. But see, and this is the point. You're saying, but gotta be patient in baseball. I get that part. But my question is why? We've been patient for how many years with this Phillies team? And they haven't won the big one yet in 17 years. The Philadelphia Eagles, we can be patient with. Why? Because they've had lots of success over the last 8 years. The Phillies haven't. And this is the exact same team. So why should we be patient when the end result is more likely to be the same as last year than anything else? If they would have come out this weekend and been patient at the plate, if they would have came out this weekend and vibed a little bit different, yes, I might be a little bit more patient and optimistic. But I watched, 27. There's one extra, 28 innings of baseball. I probably watched about 26 of them this weekend, Rick. And I felt like I was watching the 2023 and 2024 Phillies again. I felt nothing different about the team. And that's my problem with the Phillies. It feels exactly the same. It doesn't matter how bad a team is. Even bad teams win 50 games. Not sweeping a series doesn't make them. Nobody ever used the word pathetic, okay? Nobody used the word pathetic with the Phillies. I'm just using it as the same old. They moved where the heavy part of the bat is. Okay, so where the meat of the bat is different. And what does that do? When you make contact, does that change the impact on the baseball, I'm guessing? We all know the first 2 months of baseball can be misleading. How many years do the Pirates look good? Well, the Phillies looked fantastic through the first 2 months last year until they went to London. And then after the London series, they were a 500 baseball team. Remember this. This is a Phillies baseball team that last year was a 500 baseball team through the last 3.5 months of the season. Okay? They were an average team from London on last year. Okay? So the Phillies were the same as the Pirates, as you're explaining. Very legal. Other batters around the league do it. If MLB steps in, like try to ban the tush push. But I still don't understand why there's an uproar about this new bat thing. Why are the Yankees the only ones using it? Why hasn't it been used before? Like, if it's so special that people are clamoring for bans already for it, or that the Yankees are cheating, so to speak, when they're just basically doing the tush push, I think that's a fair comparison. What's the deal with it? Like, I still don't understand, like, what the change is that's so dramatic that's changing everything. Tied for most walks in NL so far, pretty patient. And they've also struck out on a lot of pitches that were pretty bad. Bottom line is the Phillies can't win a World Series until October. So being negative on them all season ain't going to help. It's just going to bring bad moods to everyone. Again, not negative. You misinterpret my honesty and my realistic approach as negative because I give credit where credit's due. Talk about how great Zach Wheeler was. Jesus Luzardo looked good in his part of his outing. Bryson Stott especially on Saturday, had a great weekend, made some good plays in defense. Kyle Schwarber looks like he's in great shape again, have a big season. But again, the same problems are going to rear its ugly head. The Phillies team is basically a mirror image of the Eagles over the past 3 seasons. So that means that the Phillies will win. How are they a mirror image? I disagree that they're a mirror image. You're saying because the Phillies went to the World Series just like the Eagles in 22, that makes them the same, and that this year they're going to win it. I don't think that, because the Phillies are the same team. The Phillies are led by the same people. The Eagles changed coordinators. The Eagles changed players. They brought in studs. The Phillies are one of the youngest teams in football. The Phillies are one of the oldest teams in baseball. There's a lot of differences in the two teams, in the two organizations. Some engineer figured out how that contact is more towards the middle of the bat instead of more towards the end of the bat. Okay? So it has to do with where contact is made on the bat. And you slide that. Yeah, it just kind of came up out of nowhere, Steven, this weekend. And there's a lot of talk, but I just didn't have the time to really research into it. It's kind of crazy that it's like golf. Technology in golf clubs changes every year. But I guess in baseball, we haven't changed how a baseball bat is built for, a long time. And now it's a big deal since they are. Averaging almost 7 runs per game so far. They had 2 really good games, and they scored 1 run yesterday. Okay. All right. It's fine. Other players around the league use this torpedo bat, but it seems like the Yankees are mainly using that bat. Judge doesn't use, apparently. So Aaron Judge doesn't even use it. Okay. It's just interesting to me. It's just one of those things that kind of creeped up out of nowhere to me. And just kind of, I knew I'd use you guys to tell me about it as it went on. I know what you're doing, averaging. I know what you're doing. It's like using a log stick putter versus a mallet style versus there's probably long style stick putter. Yeah, I got you. There's probably a lot of comparisons to it that we can make with golf equipment. It's interesting. It definitely is. It's just something, like I said, it creeped up out of nowhere. Didn't know much about it when it happened. It just kind of surprised me this weekend, and I didn't know what was going on. And if it's such a big thing, why aren't the Phillies? Everybody should be using it. But I guess also there's a reason why golfers all use different equipment, different styles, different weights, different this and that. I guess a hitter is a lot like a golfer. You got to use the bat that you're most comfortable with. That's why all bats have different weights to them and lengths to them within the legal rules and stuff like that. So there's that as well that, to feel about that. But anyway. Look, Rick, and I'm directing this directly at you. It is a long season. And the law of averages, it's all going to bounce out in the regular season. I'm going to try my best not to be negative on this Phillies team when the real slumps happen. I'm always going to be realistic, though. But I know it's a long season. We can't just be negative and crush every little thing. But what we can do is look at the simple thing. No concerns that Aaron Nola yesterday. Let's go over Aaron Nola's box score from yesterday. 5 1/3 innings. 6 hits, 5 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, 2 home runs given up. That doesn't concern anybody. Ruiz didn't look good in his first outing. Looked okay yesterday. Matt Strahm looked good. That was a great thing. Struck out 6 times yesterday. Actually, that was their best day not striking out yesterday. I had concerns entering this season. Plate approach. I had concerns this Philly season about the age, and I had concerns about the pitching. Not the starting pitching as much as the relief pitching. They said it could cause injuries with how different it could make weaker batters swing because of where the weight of the bat is placed there. How different it could make. Okay, interesting. Daryl Morey is not fired yet, unfortunately, K1. You're going to have to see and hear more videos of me calling out Josh Harris until Daryl Morey is fired. But as much as we're talking Phillies, the Sixers question is out there. Now that the Sixers are officially eliminated from playoff contention, is this the worst most disappointing Sixers season ever. And I think it's right up there. This is a more disappointing season than the 2010 or the 2014 10-win season. Someone told me on Twitter yesterday that the Jimmy Butler 2019 season was the most disappointing because that team should have actually won a title. I don't agree with that. In my lifetime, 1980s when I was born, this would be, in my opinion, the most disappointing Sixers season. Now, where do the Sixers stand? They keep their pick if it falls in the top 6. They are right now the 5th worst record in the NBA, a full game lead over the Nets, who are in the 6th spot, and like 3 or 4 now from the 7th spot. So, odds-wise, they are going to keep their draft pick. They actually are only 2 games behind, ahead, however you want to look at it, the New Orleans Pelicans for the 4th spot in worst records in the NBA. The Sixers are actually trending in the right direction to be one of the 4 worst teams in the NBA. The Sixers have won 4 of their last 31 games. Now, mind you, I get it. Injuries. I get it. Problems. But, man, this has been absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. They still won't even officially shut Tyrese Maxey down. They keep saying we're going to try to run him out there for one of the last games of the year. Why? Why? Oh, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it every day. The problem is, K1, I feel like before it ends, Daryl Morey or Josh Harris is going to come out and say, Daryl Morey's got my vote of confidence for another offseason. Daryl Morey's going to fire Nick Nurse, bring in a new coach, and he's going to still have control. And to me, as soon as Josh Harris gives Daryl Morey the vote of confidence, I'm going to start a new campaign of Josh Harris needs to sell the damn Sixers. They reinforce the bats where the player is more likely to make contact. Seems like cheating to me, but they don't have a specific rule against it. Interesting. I'm curious when this kind of stuff happens. When equipment, we hear about golf equipment changing all the time, Anthony, every year. But we don't really hear about baseball. Like we hear about helmets changing in football occasionally. We never hear about baseball equipment changing. It's one of the most basic traditional kind of things out there. It hasn't made many changes to it. If we get the pick, what makes you think that player will help us next year? We are one of the oldest teams in the league and no money for next year. What do you expect next? Look, I get it, Joe. And that's why I don't want Josh Harris or Daryl Morey here. That pick isn't going to help the Sixers win next year. That pick could help either do 2 things. 1, bring another youthful player of substance to this team to pair with Tyrese Maxey and Jarrett McCain. Hopefully a really athletic, fast wing guy, 3-and-D type guy. Or that pick might get tacked on to Joel Embiid to trade away Joel Embiid. Or the Sixers got to find a way to move on from Joel and Paul George this offseason. They do. And that pick might help. I think there might be a slight market for Paul George this offseason. There might be. There's almost no market for Joel Embiid. So that pick might come into play there. But the Sixers got to get younger, without a doubt, Joe. It's the problem with the Phillies and the Sixers. They're old teams. The Eagles, one of the youngest teams in the league. Vote of confidence equals kiss of death. Yeah, it really does. For my fandom, Rick might think I'm negative about the Phillies. God, my negativity towards the Sixers is at an all. I don't think I've been as negative about a sports team in my years as I am about this Sixers team and organization right now. This is the most disappointing season because of how much money was spent on 3 guys that were expected to bring a title to Philly, but they hardly played together. Absolutely. And the fact that even like 2 months into the season, they were still trying to sell us on the fact that this Sixers team was going to win. Still going to contend. We're at the deadline, and they're still talking about we're going to make a playoff run. pathetically ran organization. Good morning, Bruce Bryce Harper. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I hope you did. I feel you are right about Embiid and Paul George. Look, I was wrong about Joel Embiid because I didn't want to move on from him at all. But I was right about Paul George. I said it all offseason. Do not bring Paul George to Philly. It's not going to end well. Build around Embiid and Maxey. Take a step back and then get in the next year. But no, they didn't do that. And now they screwed themselves even more royally. Honestly, everyone says, I'll fire Daryl Morey and bring in Bob Myers. Bob Myers probably don't want the damn job. Who would want the Sixers job? Like, if a GM takes over the Sixers job and gets them back to the playoffs in 2 years, just put that GM in the Hall of Fame instantly because it would be the greatest turnaround in the history of anything. Anything. That's how hard of a job it's going to be to reboot, refresh, rebuild the Sixers organization. It's an undesirable job. No, I wouldn't want to coach the Sixers. Didn't Golden State make an offer for George? Yes. I think you can either, between Golden State, the Lakers, you could find a team. They're not going to give you much, Anthony. They're not going to give you multiple first-round picks, etc. But I think you could find a way to make a deal to trade Paul George this offseason and not cost a pick to attach to it or anything like that. I think there will be there'll be a very small, but there will be a Paul George market. And I said it, Anthony, on this very show, on this very network, that why would you want to give big money to a player for his third, because he wanted to stay in LA for either the Clippers or Lakers. He wanted to go to Golden State, and there was another team. We were his fourth or fifth option. Why would you find that a good idea to bring a guy to a team, pay him all that money that doesn't want to come here? But that's what they did. I feel we could even trade Embiid if we just asked for a first-round pick and maybe cannot make the team who takes Embiid pay. Yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't know if you could even do that in basketball. Can you pay their salary like you can in baseball? I'm not even sure, Bruce, how that all works. Then you got to take salaries back. I don't know if we can get I don't know if you could get a straight-up first-round pick for him. You might get some pick swaps, some heavily protected picks, maybe, but you're not getting an unprotected first-round pick for Joel Embiid, in my opinion. But we'll see. I don't have faith in Daryl Morey to get the job done, though. What's going to happen, in my opinion, they're going to try to run it back with a slight tweak. Embiid isn't worth the cheesesteak. Depends on what kind of cheesesteak you're talking about. Why do you think Harris is so bad for the Sixers but good for the Commanders? Well, first and foremost, we don't know if he's good for the Commanders or not. He's only had full control of that team for one season. And he got pretty damn lucky getting Jane Daniels turning it into a stud right away. So, I mean, we don't know if he's good for the Commanders or not. But Josh Harris's goal was always to buy a football team. He bought the New Jersey Devils so he can afford to buy the Sixers so that he can afford to buy the Commanders. So I don't know. I don't know why he's so good for them and not good for us. It's a priority thing. His priority isn't on the Sixers anymore. Since the day he took over ownership of the Commanders, his goal and focus has solely been on that football team. He don't care about the New Jersey Devils. He don't care about the Sixers. He cares about building a winning football team and getting a new stadium down there for the Commanders. They weren't serious about the playoff run. That's when the next year's season tickets invoice goes out. Absolutely. And it's kind of embarrassing, Big Al. Because if I had season tickets, I wouldn't be. They were basically promoting that they still had a chance to make more money. It's a scummy kind of thing to do. Because any real legit fan knew that they had no chance. That's pretty cynical Delphian, Big Al. We're Negadelphian, we're Cynadelphians, we're all of it, all the above. No, we should never have signed Paul George. It was as blatantly obvious as any move that's happened in any Philadelphia sports team over the last 4, 5, 6 years. that Paul George was not going to work out here in Philadelphia. Name me a move, anybody, over the last 5 years, 10 years, that was so obviously not going to work out as Paul George coming to Philadelphia. You could argue James Harden. At least there was a chance there. Ben Simmons, there was a chance there. Marco Fultz, there was a reason they picked him. With the Eagles, actually nothing bad has really happened with the Eagles over the last 5-10 years. There's a reason why you gave Carson Wentz that contract. There was evidence that it was at least somewhat worth it. The Phillies, none of the contracts screamed terrible of the Phillies contracts. Nothing was as blatantly, obviously, a bad idea in the last 5 to 10 years in Philadelphia as signing Paul George to a max contract. That's all he cares about. Getting that big new stadium, wherever it's going to be, whether it's going to be Northern Virginia, D.C., wherever it's going to be. It's all his whole goal was about getting a brand new state-of-the-art football stadium. So could you say how, if already has so much invested in other teams, how could he keep affording? So you leverage one purchase to buy the bigger purchase, and you leverage that purchase to buy another thing. Nobody's got $800 billion or whatever it is. I'm just making that number up. I don't know what he paid for the Commanders. It was like $3 or $4 billion. It's not like he could just cut a $4 billion check. It's got to have something to use as that, money to invest it. Yeah, he used the money that he's making and his value to get the money to buy them. My company had season tickets, and I got the invoice almost the exact same time. I called and canceled after 15 years of tickets. I wanted to hear their voices when I told them. Crazy. I mean, if it's your company that you work for, it's not your money. You could have kept them. It's not your money. But anyway, I get it. You're the first person I've heard that said they canceled their season tickets. I know people that have canceled their Flyers season tickets over the last 5 years. The tickets aren't getting cheaper. They're getting more expensive. And they're putting out a lesser product. How do you sell to the next year's season ticket holders? It's like the Giants this upcoming year. Yeah, we have this aging guy that was relevant 6 years ago that will take us to the promise. Yeah, exactly. Get the fook out of here with that. Yeah, and the Giants. I've seen Giants fans get so hyped about Russell Wilson and their future with Russell Wilson. God dang it. I mean, people are just grasping onto anything. Any form of hope out there. Couldn't imagine trying to spend it. Okay, well, I'm sorry. My high finance is not that great at 8:30 in the morning, 8:45. In my mind, I've got the idea of what I was trying to say. I didn't actually put the words out there accurately. Being serious and smart and articulate at 8:45 isn't ideal. What's up, Mitchie Pooh? Good morning, everyone. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Start the show at 478. We started yesterday at 479. I lost one subscriber yesterday. So we still got 22 to go to 500. So please like, subscribe, share. It's free to do, guys. What extending Embiid, when everyone but one doctor said not to, wasn't worse than signing George. Wasn't. That's an interesting question. Big Al, what was a worse decision? I think the Paul George situation was worse because Joel Embiid has been the cornerstone of this franchise for so long. Paul George didn't want to come here. Paul George came here because we were the only people that gave him $200 million. Now, giving Embiid that extension when you needed to get 6 different doctors to clear you to give him that extension was a very, very close second and awful decision-making. So arguably, if we could say that the Paul George signing was one of the most blatantly bad ideas of the last 10 years in all Philadelphia sports, the Joel Embiid extension is a very close 1B. But I keep that Paul George part just slightly ahead of it because Joel Embiid has been the Philadelphia cornerstone for a long time now. What's up, Duck? Good morning, and thank you very much, and you know why. Appreciate it, my man. Russell Wilson is a placeholder for whoever they're going to put under center in the next draft or one after that. I feel bad for quarterback needy teams right now because there's some bad quarterbacks in this draft this year. No offense to Cam Ward. He's good. He's not the number one overall pick. Good. Sanders is terrible. Going to be a massive bust. And now the Dart kid is jumping up draft boards. Can you imagine Pittsburgh the last time they needed a quarterback? It was a weak class and they ended up with Kenny Pickett late in the first round. Pittsburgh's already looking at Dart for late in the first round again this year. People like Russell Wilson. That's why Aaron Rodgers, I want him to retire. I can't wait till he just goes away. But we'll eventually get signed somewhere because the quarterbacks this year, it's a pretty bad situation. Sixers price increases over the last 6 years are, you don't have to give me the exact number, but ballpark. What was season ticket prices 6 years ago to now? Ballpark it for me because it's pretty pathetic. I'm sure of it. I guarantee it. And they're putting out a lesser product every single year. Every single year. Do we trust? Here's my fear. My fear is Josh Harris gives Daryl Morey the vote of confidence. And Daryl Morey gives us that, trying to give us that spin that it's all going to be working out. And I don't trust it. I'm not sure. I don't think Josh Harris fires Daryl Morey, but I don't know how Daryl Morey or Josh Harris tells the fans I'm not going to fire Daryl Morey. Both things don't make sense to me. And I don't know how either is going to happen. What's up, kid? How you doing this morning? Does anything the Sixers did compare to the Deshaun Watson move to Cleveland? Kid, I got crushed. Crushed. It was my early days. We're coming up on, by the way, we're like 3 weeks away from the 5-year anniversary of the first podcast I ever did. 3 weeks away, I think. 3.5 weeks. When I was first starting the podcast journey, I said that was Deshaun Watson was available in a trade. Eagles Nation everywhere wanted Deshaun Watson traded to Philly. And I said it. It would be a disaster. You don't know football. You don't know what a good quarterback is. God, if I could not pat myself on the back for that one, I was spot on. It's a shame I don't hold receipts on that. But yes, Cleveland trading all those picks for Deshaun Watson, giving him the most guaranteed money at the time ever, was probably one of the most biggest, disgusting moves of all time from any franchise. Always feast or famine with Schwarber at leadoff. It's maddening. Mister, careful, mister. You'll be called a Negadelphian like me because, me saying good and bad about a 2-1 start means I'm being a negative. Careful. There are a few borderline starters, quality backups in the draft, but no blue chippers. Yeah, and the problem is, K1, just put Cam Ward's name or Sanders' name or Dart's name. Name any of those three, K1. Those are guys that should sit for a full entire year. Hold a clipboard, learn, be in an organization that's going to develop a team around them, put pieces in place. But no, Tennessee's going to draft Ward number 1. He's going to be thrust onto a team that's not ready to win. His confidence is going to be completely destroyed. And if he's not up here strong enough, he's going to have a bad career. That's what Dart is going to go to Pittsburgh. And if they don't sign Aaron Rodgers, is going to be forced to play day one. And he's going to fail. That's the problem. No longer are there football teams that draft Carson Palmer number 1 overall and force him to hold a clipboard for 16 straight games and not touch the field. I always loved that philosophy. Donovan McNabb sat, what was it, week 11 when he finally got the reins turned over from Doug Peterson his rookie year? That just doesn't happen anymore. You push these quarterbacks like Zach Wilson's of the world, like Bryce Young's of the world. You push them too fast, too quickly, and they fail. Very rarely does a C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels success rookie year happen. Very rarely. Carson Wentz was okay his rookie year. Luckily, he had the strong head on his shoulders, a great organization. 150 to 200% increase over the last 6 years. That's insane. 200% is insane. My podcast journey, yes. Started 5 years ago in like a couple weeks. I'm going to share it out on Twitter. I don't think I can share it out on YouTube. But I'm going to share it out on Twitter when that anniversary comes. 5 years ago. Talking about Jalen Reagor and Jalen Hurts, the first 2 picks of the Eagles draft in 2020. And how I said on that show how disappointed I was that the Eagles didn't trade up for CeeDee Lamb or pick Justin Jefferson. And then I said how great and excited I was that the Eagles picked Jalen Hurts because he was a stud quarterback in the making. But I was disappointed that the Eagles took him because he wasn't going to have a chance to start with Carson Wentz still here. It's a very interesting hour and 2-minute conversation of me and somebody else, Johnny, had on that show. Yeah, I don't save receipts. I don't hold grudges against people that call me out for my takes. I don't. It's just not me, Big Al. Everybody holds receipts. I don't. There's literally 2 things in my bookmarks on Twitter. One is a picture of me and my brother and my nephew. The other is a picture of me when I made my TV debut. And then I just recently put another one in there, my please subscribe to the YouTube channel post. That's it. That's all that's in my bookmarks. Organizations don't do that anymore, sitting behind a quarterback to learn. The media fans get into the I agree. It's the media, it's the fans, it's the owners push for these guys. But it shouldn't be that way. Teams rush these players. As much as I have much disdain as I have for Aaron Rodgers, he sat for 3 years. Jordan Love won. Patrick Mahomes, what? I think he was like a McNabb situation where he came in late in his rookie year, right? Joe, you're spot on. I get it. But it's the wrong way to do things. Completely wrong way to do things. That's not how you develop a quarterback. Maybe, I'm not saying he would have, but maybe if Bryce Young sat for 2 years, maybe he'd be better. Maybe if Zach Wilson would have sat for a year or two, maybe he probably wouldn't have been. But it's a quarterback-driven league, and it's a high investment, which is crazy because you get the 5th year with the first-round quarterbacks. What's 1 year? If you're picking number 1 overall, your team sucks. What's 1 more year of sucking? But that's not the way it goes. Now, maybe the Giants, if they draft a quarterback in the first round, because they signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and got Tommy Cutlets on their team, maybe they could sit their rookie quarterback for a year or two, maybe, to develop them. But you also have to have a good organization that's going to build the other foundational pieces, a great left tackle, a weapon on wide receiver, a defensive line. You also have to have an organization that knows how to build a winning organization. We tried, because Freddie, what's up, man? I hope you're well. I heard things about it this weekend, but I had a busy weekend, so I didn't know much about these quote-unquote torpedo bats yet. So Big Al and Steven have given me a little bit of information on it. I guess that they are legal, that there are players on other teams that use it. It's just not commonplace, and most Yankees do use them. I just don't understand where this technology came from, and I didn't hear anything about it till this weekend. I just saw posts on Twitter about it. The internet is my receipts. If I have to go back, I could go back and get them. I choose not to. People like to call me out and pull my receipts, but I don't like to embarrass other people. There's plenty of embarrassing I could do, but I choose not to. We should draft Milroe with one of our thirds and just have another Jalen on the roster. No, we do not need to draft any quarterback. We don't. Actually, I don't say we don't need to draft a quarterback. I never have a problem with them drafting a quarterback in the 6th or later rounds, but we don't need any quarterbacks right now. Phil, I hope the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers, as he will make them even worse because dude, I'm right there. We agree on this one, Bruce Price Harper, 1,000%. The only reason why I don't want the Steelers to sign him is because I just want him to go away. Again, I started putting together my list of biggest assholes in sports. people I dislike the most in sports. And Aaron Rodgers is still number one on my list of most disliked. I don't hate anybody because I think hate's a strong word. But if I was ever going to use a word hate on an athlete, Aaron Rodgers would be probably the closest to getting it. But Aaron Rodgers is trying to follow in Brett Favre's footsteps. He does. He just needs to go on a dark retreat or whatever the hell he's called that he did the other year and just go get high on mushrooms and do what he does and just never be seen again. Like the guy's just scuzz bucket. I need Rodgers to be terrible this year. I'd rather him not play just so he goes away than be bad. Giants fans are just happy that they didn't get – the Giants fans, I think, are so excited about the Russell Wilson signing because it's not Aaron Rodgers. Does that make sense, Mitchie Poo? I think that was one of your videos this weekend, too. Like, that's just why they're excited, the Giants. Like, as a Sixers fan, I'd get excited if we found a way to move on from Joel Embiid and Paul George in a cost-efficient way. What did I say about the Sixers before the season started? And this goes to football with quarterbacks and stuff like that and drafting them. Sometimes it's okay to take one step back as a sports organization so you can eventually take two steps forward. NFL teams with quarterbacks don't do that. The Sixers did do that, and I criticized them for that. I said, don't sign Paul George. It's a bad decision. Let's take a step back so we can then take two steps forward this upcoming offseason. But no, they had to rush everything. Bring in Paul George and ruin it all. The Phillies, maybe firing Rob Thompson or at least Kevin Long. It might upset some feathers, ruffled some feathers, and made them take a step back. Sometimes it's okay to go backwards so you can go forward. Sometimes you got to put it in reverse so you can get out and pass the other guy. Put it in reverse to get out of that parking spot. It's okay. One step back, two steps forward. If the Giants draft Sanders, I will die laughing. Like, am I wrong? Look, K1, I don't watch a lot of college football. I watch no college basketball, not much college football. Not much basketball, not a little bit of football. I haven't watched a full game of Sanders yet, but I've seen all the highlights. I've seen all the hype. I don't see it. I think he's going to be a complete and total bust. Now, maybe you can tell me I'm wrong. You all know last year at this very time, I was talking about how much I did not like Caleb Williams' game. And I thought Caleb Williams was going to be a bust. I would take 10 Caleb Williams over one Sanders. All right, I would take Caleb Williams 10 times over Sanders. Geno Smith 2.0. Geno Smith, early in his career 2.0, before he reinvented himself with the Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be a Geno Smith type. Who else was drafted that year with Geno Smith? The first two quarterbacks in that draft were E.J. Manuel and Geno Smith. That's going to be this year's class, right? That's how bad it is. 14 likes on the video? Please. There's more than 14 people watching on YouTube. There's 17 people in the YouTube room right now. That means there should be at a minimum of 17 likes on this video. All you do, you click that like button. If you haven't, you click that subscribe button. And then once that's done, you click that share button. It pops up all the social media platforms. It's that simple, people. Click, click, click. It's free to do. Please. It literally costs nothing to you. You're right. As the Eagles adjusted, then they won the Super Bowl. It's okay to step back, to step forward. All right, so we got one more then instantly. There we go. It's okay to step back, to step forward. Very accurate. Has a decent long ball. I feel like Geno is his ceiling, and Jacoby Brissett is his floor. That's an interesting. So he's a backup, basically. He's a starter on bad teams and a backup, if that's his ceiling and floor. So we gained one new subscriber today. We started at 470. We started yesterday at 479. We lost one yesterday, and then we gained one back today. There we go. We're getting there. I'm taking a step back. I took a step back from 479 to 478, so I could take a step forward and hopefully get to 480 today. That's the goal. I need Aaron Rodgers and his family don't get along. Normally, family issue kisses your ass when you're rich. He must be. Yeah, I mean, his family drama and family issues, I don't want to get too deep into them, mister. But what I'll say is that every family's got their issues. Everyone I got issues in my family. I used to get upset about it. Like, you know what? It's no different than any other family, especially big families. There's always issues. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers got the money. You'd think you would just hide your issues from Aaron Rodgers just so you could get his money, but no, I guess they don't. He must really be an a-hole. Is more like Derek Carr. He needs to O-line with the Giants don't have and won't for a few years. I just don't get him. I don't get 90 more. I know you don't care about 500 or 1,000. You care about 569, 669, 1,069, 10,069. That's all you care about. I love it. Interested to see if Christopher Sanchez velocity of 98. Yes, today's home opener. Christopher Sanchez. What do you guys? So let's put a positive Phillies question, positive Phillies comment, positive Phillies thought into the universe. The thought process is that the Phillies lined up the rotation specifically so that Christopher Sanchez got to start the home opener today. Because if they would have done it the typical way, it would have been Wheeler 1, Nola 2, Sanchez 3. Or Wheeler, Sanchez, Nola against the Nationals. And that would leave Jesus Luzardo, the newcomer, today for the home opener. They specifically did it and lined it up so Sanchez goes today. That's kind of cool. Like, they rewarded him with a contract extension in the offseason, Joe. But giving him the right to have the home opener today, that's a great vote of confidence. And I did predict maybe a slight regression from him this upcoming season, but still think he's going to be a very, very good pitcher for the Phillies. I'm excited to see it. The park's going to be packed. The fans are going to be jumping up and down, making noise. Hopefully Turner and JT are back in the lineup. I haven't even looked up who's starting for Colorado. Let me pull up today's box thing here. So we're going up against German Marquez, a right-hander. So no matter what, we'll see what's his name, Kyle Schwarber leading off today. Mickey Moniak was picked up. I know he was cut I didn't know Mickey Moniak got picked up by the Colorado Rockies. Got a 500 batting average. Homer, 2 RBIs already. How about that? So, yeah, there's that. But great vote of confidence that Christopher Sanchez gets the home opener today. You can now hibernate until Payne or Crawford are up now. If you can't be consistent against a team of, I agree. But I'm called a Negadelphian, Nooms, for that. I'm a Negadelphian. Got to remember, this team from June on last year was a 500 baseball team. And that's what they are. I feel Sanders is good, but Dion will start problems. So maybe. If Dion goes pro as a coach, you think he's just going to push for his kid to be on his team, which would create more drama as well? Maybe Sanders needs to get away from Dion to prove who he is. Maybe once you get away from Pops, it helps you expand your horizon. Like I look at the Ball family. Once they got away from Papa, LeVar Ball, they started to grow a little bit more as individuals. Maybe they just got to get away from the shadow. Maybe Bronny needs to get away from LeBron to grow a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. At least I'm not. Yeah, I mean, you could be a righteous delusional Eagles fan. I'm not a righteous delusional Phillies fan either, though. I don't bet against Deion Sanders and company. Eagles should trade up 1 pick before the Cowboys. Oh, man. Deion just signed an extension. Oh, he did? When did that? I missed that one. I missed that. I thought there was a lot of rumors of him going pro, whether it was this year or next year. Or it's the right move, just like Eli, I can't say it. Elway and Eli. What's the right move? Did this just happen while the show started? Wow, $54 million for 5 years for Dion. He must be bringing in a lot of money for that school. It literally must have just, because I did not see this before the show. But again, I don't see everything that's going on. I'm refreshing Twitter. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's a lot of money for Dion. And unfortunately, I guarantee you, Dion will eventually leave for a pro job. Definitely will. There's definitely also a trend. We've seen Deshaun Jackson get a job. A trend to hire former football players like, I don't know how to say this, ego, personalities, like bold personality former football players as your college coach. It's kind of weird. There's another one I'm missing. Deion Sanders, Deshaun Jackson. There's another one that recently signed. I forget who it was. I totally missed that one then. I really thought he was going to be the Cowboys head coach. That didn't happen. I wanted it to happen so that he could ruin them. I did not watch any college hoops this weekend. Michigan State did lose, so my one bet, which was $5 on them to win it all, is over. So yeah, there's that. First time all four number ones made the Final Four. Yes, I saw that. That is kind of interesting. Chalk City wins. It's funny because going into the Sweet 16, I had my $5 bet on Michigan State to win it all. Fanatics was offering me my money back entering the Sweet 16. Entering the Elite Eight game, they offered me only $4 to cash out my $5 bet, and I should have taken it. It's good to see Casty more selective and Stott with way better bounds. I saw some bad swings from Casty this weekend. Not every one of them, but I saw a couple bad ones. It was an okay start. Nothing special. It was a few days ago, but Colorado, were they that good? Maybe I'm just missing. Look, I don't watch a lot of college football, and I'm sure Colorado's not on my top list of games that I'm tuning into regularly, Freddie. I won't lie. Kind of shocked it was that many wins. He's been there, 3 years now. No lie. That's a surprise to me. Thought it would have been when you posted that record, I would have expected you to post like 23-10, 22-11, something like that. But I don't watch a lot. Eddie George, new head coach at Bowling Green. I do remember seeing that recently. Eddie George was a cool dude. Have you ever heard Deion Sanders hit single? Must be the money. Deion wins at everything he does. He does. Deion, I remember being a kid and hating the Falcons and Braves, but just loving Deion Sanders playing in both a football game and a baseball game the same day, taking helicopters from one stadium to the next. Like, Deion Sanders was cool when I was a kid. He might have played for, like, some of my bitter enemy type teams like the Braves. But, like, Brian Jordan was a great two-sport athlete. Did both. But he didn't have the flair of the Bo Jackson and the Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, it was cool. He was cool. And I remember that. He will always have a good record at Colorado, and with the new playoff format, they will get in as a 10-12 seat in a few seasons. Yeah. I mean, you don't play Big Ten football, or SEC football with elite teams around him. Houston defense will be interesting. We needed a chalk Final Four. I feel like the upset picks are becoming more of the norm, so I'm happy with chalk Final Four. Yeah, it's good and bad having all chalk, and I see both your sides of it there. Yeah, I mean, I have not been shy with the fact that I just don't watch a lot of college basketball anymore. Life just gets in the way, and so I can only watch so much sports in life anymore. And college basketball is the thing that took the back seat to me the last year or two. I did not. This is the first year. My first bracket I ever filled out was the Eric Montross-led North Carolina Tar Heels. I picked North Carolina to win that when everyone else in my class picked Michigan to win that one. was my first bracket I ever hit. That was 6th grade Holy Cross, I believe. It's the first time I filled one out with all of us put $5 in a pot. 6th grade Holy Cross. Who was my teacher in 6th grade? I forget. Mrs. Who was 6th grade? I don't even remember anymore. Anyway, but yeah, so this is the first year since then, which that would have been about 91 or whatever. It was the first year I filled one out. This is the first year I did not fill one out since then. What's up, Jonathan? Now will Izzo retire? I don't know. I'll have to ask Jason about that. I think Jason, when I asked him that a few weeks ago, said that he expected to coach about 2 or 3 more years. My man Jason, co-host of Fairway to Heaven with me, and Steven is a Michigan State graduate. He said he would expect 2 to 3 more years out of him. So, yeah, Duke and Cooper Flagg feels like the champs this year. Yeah, they want to see Cooper Flagg hoisting that trophy. They do. And then go into the draft and be the number 1 overall pick. Allegedly a warmer weather pitcher. I was really hoping Nola to be able to keep a quadruple A team at bay against a Sunday lineup. But, yeah. Like I said it last week, Nooms, every time Aaron Nola has a really good season, like last year, he follows it up with a north of 4 ERA season. Every other year, he's 2.5 to 3.5, and then every other year, he's 4.5 to almost 5. So that would mean this year's going to be a 4.5-year season for him. So, yeah, I agree. The NBA got the cut for me. Yeah, I mean, the NBA didn't get a cut for me until the Sixers started just being dreadful this year. I wasn't planning on cutting the Sixers this year in the NBA. No matter, the NBA is a terrible product to watch. We can all agree with that, but I still watch it. I watched a lot of hockey early in the season, trying to regain my love. Now that golf season's going on, golf and baseball and football is for me. With my golf show, I watched literally the entire final round of the Houston Open yesterday. I mean, I had a lot of money on the line. I had a very profitable weekend with golf picks this week, guys, just so you know. Sister Moore, that's right. Duh. How can I forget Sister Moore? Duh. Her and her steel finger. If you ever got hit by the steel finger, you know. And I got poked with that steel finger once. Why is Nola third in the rotation? Has Topper completely lost his mind? Nola is third in the rotation because Topper said he wants to rotate the righties and lefties. So Wheeler righty, Luzardo or Sanchez lefty. The righty, lefty, righty, lefty. That's what he wants to do. Topper had to have a mind to lose, but, that's that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It would have made sense if they wanted Nola to be the home opener starter today. That would have made more sense to me. Sixers need to trade Embiid and their top 6 protected pick, hopefully, for top pick to pair with Flagg and Maxey. Yeah. Good luck with that. Who's going to get the number 1 overall pick this year? Whoever it is. Would you trade? Would you take? I think the Sixers are going to end up with pick number 5. That's just my prediction. That's where they're going to end up. 5 and Embiid for number 1 overall. They wouldn't do it. They would not do it. Nobody would. If the Sixers were good this year, I would not have watched all games of a series if I had other life priorities. NBA has become a complete life troll, like Mahomes is on every team. Look, I get it. NBA is an unwatchable sport. I still watch my Sixers, just not this year. Sanchez is getting the home opener because of the home road split. So that's true. I forgot about that. He is a much better home pitcher. Fred, we were talking about this earlier in the show. Sanchez getting it. It's a huge little tip of the cap to him as well. He could have pitched game 2 or 3 very easily. And they didn't want to put Luzardo out there for game 4, being the first game at home. They wanted somebody the fans like and appreciate out on the field. Yeah. And Christopher Sanchez, you got the camp, the spring training topic of his new fastball being up to 98. Look, Sanchez is a great story, and I love the kid. I do. And I hope he pitches well today. I hope the Phillies go out there and dominate the Rockies like they should today. Absolutely. Dion is 13-12 at Colorado, 27-6 at Jackson State. All right, we need some clarifications on what the hell is going on with what Deion Sanders' records are. So we got two different sides of the story here. 479 subscribers. Hell yes, let's go. 500 is what we need. That's what I want. Yeah, but once we hit 500, Freddie, you know I'm going to be doing is clamoring for 1,000 then. But that's fine. Let's go. We gained 1 today during the show. There should be over 20 likes on this video. If y'all just click that share button, that subscribe button, that like button, we'd get there before long. We would. So like, share, subscribe, everybody. Thank you very much, Freddie. It's been a fun show today. Yeah, no, I wasn't even feeling it this morning, to be honest. I really don't feel like talking sports today. I really don't, but I do it. I blame Steph Curry for making the NBA unwatchable because everyone thinks they could shoot threes now, 6 seconds into the shot clock. Look, my nephew, 9-year-old nephew Connor, practices Steph Curry threes from half court all day long. He practices the James Harden step back, and he practices the Jalen Brunson flop shot. That's what he practices in his driveway. Your number 3 starter is for someone who is dependable, gives you innings, is occasionally elite for an inning or two, and will frustrate as much as satisfy. He's exactly the spot he belongs. That's true. I think that's a fair description of what Aaron Nola is. Remember, he's also making $170 million, too. That's also what he is. So don't forget that as well. Ooh, Sanchez going to be Cy Young Award this year, finals. Maybe. If Christopher Sanchez is a finalist for the Cy Young, then yes, we're gonna be winning a lot of regular season games. Does it affect Zach Wheeler would be a finalist too? And normally when you have 2 finalists on the same team for an award, they don't end up winning the award because they take votes away from each other. But I hope Sanchez has a great year. I expect a slight regression from him. Just going from Cy Young candidate, rookie, hotshot rookie, to he's going to be a really good pitcher. I still think he'll probably be an all-star candidate this year. But it was a one-year thing. We got to see if he can do it again. And again, today he's going out against a really bad Rockies lineup. The Harden step back, I hate the Harden step back. I hate that kids are practicing that move. I do, Steven. I hate that I see kids practicing how to shoot the ball as leaning in for a foul. Like they lean in and just fling it up, and they practice that. It drives me nuts. I see kids practicing that. It's the Steph Curry era. It's the YouTube short video era where they watch short videos and try to mimic them. Cooper Flag game is near perfect. He can handle the rock like a point guard and battle on the boards for rebounds. Yeah, anybody that thinks that the Sixers are going to get him are just completely laughable because Cooper Flag will be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. And there is 0 chance that the NBA lets us get the number 1 pick. 0 chance. I don't think, like I said, I think the Sixers end up with pick 5. What they do with pick 5, I don't know. The only 2 kids I know in the draft are Cooper Flag and Ace Bailey. And neither of them are going to be there at 5. So I don't know what they'll do with 5. But Cooper Flag ain't going to be it. Cooper Flag's going to go to the worst team in the NBA, and he's going to be a stud, but it's going to take time. Let me look here again. Let me remind myself who's the worst record. The Utah Jazz and the Washington Wizards, Charlotte Hornets. They're the 3 teams that will be battling for the one spot. You know, honestly, they're all so far away from being good. I don't know. It's going to take a while. But Cooper Flag will go out there and help turn a franchise around maybe. Absolutely, guys. We're coming up to the final 10 minutes of the show here. Like, share, subscribe. I'm going to really dig deep into what's going on at the owner meetings last night and today. We'll talk a little bit more football. There's growing worries and concerns about the tush-push being banned. Who cares? But I still think it's kind of asinine. But I love Nick Sirianni speaking briefly yesterday or commented yesterday. I don't even know if it wasn't an official presser, that Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, and Kellen Moore should not vote against or vote for banning the tush push because they all got their head coaching jobs because of the tush push. And him saying that was hilarious, but also awesome. So there's that as well. Don't be shocked if the Rutgers kids don't get drafted as high as many expect. I don't even know who the Rutgers kids are. Again, lack of college basketball knowledge. Nooms. Well, once the playoffs start and we find out whether we're getting a draft pick or not, I will start looking into some of these kids then. But right now, until I know where we're picking, if we're picking, I'm not even wasting my time on them. So because I don't watch enough to dig into it, or to know it. So I'm not digging into it until I know. How does a kid from Newport, Maine become the next chosen one of the NBA? Must be too tall for hockey. Is that where he's from? Newport, Maine? Never been. I've been to Maine, Bar Harbor and Portland, but never Newport. The Wizards would definitely trade for Embiid, right? You're really pushing for this, right? You really think a team would trade number 1 overall pick, Cooper Flag, for Joel Embiid in the number 5 pick, Steven? I mean, you're a delusional, righteous Sixers fan. But Washington's a pretty dumb organization, so maybe they would. Maybe. Maybe. You never know. Who knows? I don't think it would happen. It's not even worth joking about because it's not going to happen. But anyway, this week we will cover. We will cover whatever's going on at the owners' meetings this week. We'll obviously continue our Phillies talk. We'll recap each game. I think the Phillies go out today and win the game today. Christopher Sanchez, I got 6 innings, 1 run, 10 strikeouts today for Christopher Sanchez. Phillies are going to win 5-1 today over the Colorado Rockies. You go to 3-1 on the season. That's my prediction. That's not a spoiler. That's a prediction. Or it's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. I got my own thing wrong. Darko was taken before Melo in the draft, so you never know. Darko Milchek. I still remember all the hype videos leading up to the draft of him working out in like some Siberian prison or something. I forgot. I'm just joking. But dude, they hyped him up so much. Teams do people get more hyped over 17, 18-year-olds, gym footage or NFL quarterback combine stats? Like, what do people overvalue more? It's crazy. It really is. Cooper Flag ain't falling to 5. That's all I'm going to say. Cooper Flag will not be a 76ers player in next year. It's just not going to happen. It's a shame. But it's like, the only way that happens is if, God forbid, Cooper Flag goes out and blows out his ACL in the Final Four, and the Sixers draft him and make him sit the entire first year of his rookie year. Here the NBA is starting a basketball league in Europe. Can we trade Josh Harris to the British Bulldogs? I thought they were the English Silly Nannies. Oh, no, that's their football team. The Silly Nannies are the football team. I remember the reaction to the Cavs draft. Oh, my God. Who was the dude on ESPN that night? What? Somebody freaked out. Was it Woj or was it somebody else just like, what? I think it was a former NBA player. That was bad. I mean, okay. So I guess you do bring up a very interesting point. Anthony Bennett's do happen occasionally. 1 overall. But then 2 overall take Cooper Flag. Or 3 overall will. It's crazy. Crazy. Guys, of course, I got to plug. Tomorrow we'll be back at 8 a.m., but tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Fairway to Heaven for the Valero Texas Open. I'm now 4 outrights deep this season. Steven is 3 outright deeps this season. Jason, I believe, is 3 outright deep. Giving you great fantasy knowledge, gambling knowledge on golf. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Almost Masters Week. Almost Masters Week in golf, which means I get to wear my fancy green jacket for a week on this show. Can't wait. Solid field. That's a great field this week for the Valero Texas Open. So we'll break that down tomorrow at 6 p.m. Paul Hagen, MLB Hall of Fame writer, will be joining Philly Press Box Radio Wednesday night, 6 p.m. I don't know if there'll be time to do a Phillies live stream this week, but hopefully by next week I get Phillies live streams going where you can talk Phillies and watch Phillies baseball with me. But we'll see. Once games start happening at night regularly, we'll try to do that. Maybe I'll do a Phillies pregame live from the pizza shop a few times this week. We'll see. But anyway, it's time to wrap this show up. Guys, please, again, one time, all it takes is a free click. Like, free click, subscribe, free click, share. It's easy to do. Share it out. Tell everybody. Tell one. Tell all. Tell a friend. Subscribe to the STT Sports Network, the fastest growing, the best, the only channel out there where your opinions matter, setting the trends for what sports talk should be. We got football on the agenda this week. We got baseball on the agenda this week. We got golf on the agenda this week. And whatever comes up elsewise, this week. So, guys, please do all that good stuff. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in today. Muchas gracias. It's been a fun day. Everybody have a great Monday. The cold weather returns tomorrow, so enjoy the warm weather one more day, guys. But with that being said, it's time to wrap this shebang up. So everybody have a great day. Go Birds. Bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop,